Hello, good morning. Thank you for joining us today. I welcome you to the University of Bayreuth on behalf of the African Multiple Cluster of Excellence. It's a pleasure to have you here. My name is Baderin Adebanjo, and today we are talking about the film, The Fisherman. Uh, the story behind it, the creative journey amongst other things. Before we begin, could you please introduce yourself and tell us the role you played in the film,
Thank
The
you.
Fisherman?
Dankeschön. And guten Morgen, good morning to your audience as well. My name is Kofi Owusu-Afriyie, and I'm one of the producers of the Fisherman film.
Thank you very much, and it's nice to meet you, Kofi.
Likewise.
As the producer or one of the producers of The Fisherman, that means you played a very key role in shaping both the creative and the production side of the film. And we will be excited to hear more from you. To start off, we would like to know what was the inspiration behind the film and why you felt compelled to tell the story.
That's a good question. And this is an idea that came from the director, Zoe Martinson. And this idea stemmed from a conversation that we had over the phone and her time staying in Keita. So she, as a younger person, she stayed in Keita for a period of time, I think over a year. And in that time, she used to help the fishermen bring in the nets at the end of the day. And she always wondered what could come out from the sea when they pulled in the nets. So in conversation, on one of the occasions that we kept in touch, I said, I'd just gone past Jamestown, which is the old part of Accra, the very old part of Accra back in the colonial days. And there's this fishing area that the government has given to the Chinese to set up a fishing harbor. And this is a fishing area we all like to go and, sometimes visit. And so I told her this is what was happening now. And she was like, oh. And I said, it would be good to document the area now as it is before it's turned into something else later. And then she came up with the idea of writing a short film. So we ended the call. A few days later, she sends me a script. I read it and I immediately go like, let's do this. I really want to do this, even though we had literally no money. We pulled resources together. She was in South Africa at the time, and so instead of going straight to the US from South Africa, she did a detour, and then came to Ghana, and then within a week we did the casting, and then we shot the short. And so from the short, the amazing thing was. It's so funny. We didn't think, because this was something we did for fun. Suddenly the short took on a life of its own, winning awards here and there, and then it got licensed by HBO for a year. And so when that happened, there was a film festival in the UK called the Encounters Film Festival that I had the opportunity to go. And after the film screened at a sold out audience, when the foyer having discussions, filmmakers, other film enthusiasts, having discussions, mingling. And then this, an old lady and her grandson walked up to me and she literally said, this is a part of Ghana she has never seen before, and how relatable the story was to her, and that her grandson was, has the idea of getting into film, and him having the opportunity to see this only makes it emphasizes the reason why he should get into film. And her saying that hit me, and I kept that that moment with me. And then when we went back, and so every time Zoe and I had conversations, I would quietly just say, we should do a full-length film for this. And she was adamant. She was like, I wrote this as a short. I didn't think it would be for, and this was for fun.
Yeah.
Then, sometimes you have to let people be for a little while, and then you come back. And so I just did gentle prodding because she got married and then had some, beautiful kids. She had a beautiful family, and then one day when she was back to herself and ready to work, I said, we still should visit this and write the feature. And so she finally gave in and then started writing, and then I helped her with the creative process in terms of like some of the scenes and some of the in Ghana the things that would work to make the scene comfortable. Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. So we can say categorically that the film was inspired by real life experiences and events, and that was what shaped the narrative.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. So how best do you describe this film in terms of genre?
It's a comedy. It's a whimsical fantasy comedy that explores themes, real life themes, in a comical way. People, sometimes when you want to deliver a message, people would take it in the form of a comedy, even though it's, there's a saying that there's a lot of truth in jest. People will say things in a funny way, but there's truth behind what they're saying, even though you're laughing about it. So this was the main, reason for the theme that she chose and the genre.
Okay, thank you very much. The film, The Fisherman, seems to explore the balance between modernity and tradition. How did you approach portraying this dynamic in the film?
It's interesting because in Ghana we have this Edinkra symbol called Sankofa, and Sankofa means returning to where you came from. So in order to move forward, you need to be in touch with your past to know what's happened behind you, so you can, if there's anything that you need to do, any healing or any other thing that you need to do in order for you to progress in life, you need to do that. And you also you need to always be. So that theme of exploring traditions and modernity, it's something that needs to be merged together so that we can all grow. You tend to find nowadays our old people, instead of us contacting them for information, we would rather consult Google, and that makes them feel obsolete, and it hurts because these people, these were before Google. These were our libraries. These were our encyclopedias. Yes. Why are we now making them? And you see, without utilizing them, they feel useless, and they feel left out in society. So these were the things that she explored in order to make this film.
Okay, thank you very much. And as the producer of the film, how do this personally, how does the relationship between tradition and modernity influence your own choice, your choice making in the film, during the filmmaking?
Wow, that's a good question. I would say making certain decisions that I even took on set were how would I put this? There were certain decisions that I took that made me realize that being
modern,
being too modern,
yes,
can sometimes make you feel you're either being arrogant or you're being, you're being too bossy, because sometimes especially when you're dealing with people who are ahead of you, you in our culture, in the African culture, your elders are to be respected.
Yes.
They are not your age mates.
Yes.
The way you talk to them,
yes,
matters. You know, if you're looking for, if you're asking for a favor, the mere fact that you've paid for something does not mean you can talk to the person anyhow. You have to come to a certain level so that they know that, yes, you've paid for a service, but then you also according me a certain level of respect for me to provide that service.
Yes.
The mere fact that I've paid for it, being a modern man and saying I paid for it, so you need to if you want the best service, you need to be, kindness goes both ways. You know, I need to be kind to you in order for you to be kind to me and provide me with the best service that I've paid for.
Okay, thank you very much. Now let's talk about some characters in the movie. And we'll be talking about 3 specific characters. We're talking about the main character, Atta, the fisherman. We're talking about the fish, the talking fish, the boogie fish. And I would like you to say one word about Shasa, the young lady. But let's talk about the main character. The main character, Atta, is a traditional man. And he initially went totally against modern technology. But at the end of the story, he began to accept some of these changes. The question now is, was the initial conflict inspired by real experiences in the Ghanaian coastal community or Ghana generally?
It's a general thing, not just Ghana. I think it's a global thing where, especially with the older generation coming from a place where we call them the BBCs, the people born before computers. So coming from that older generation and then now having to deal with technology, you know, having them try to catching up is such a chore for them because they've lived a certain lifestyle or they've been brought up in a certain way that is different from what is happening now. You know, people are able to tell what time it is just from looking at the sun, the shadow of the sun. Now it's like you look at your phone and you can tell what time it is instantly. So these are the little things that makes them feel like they are being left out, because these are, like I said, these people are libraries. They are the people that would even, and there are certain ailments that happen to you today, if that you would think modern medicine might help, but you realize that traditional medicine works better and faster and is more effective without the side effects. So you need to, these are things that you can't do one without the other. They need to progress so they can both come together and make things work.
Okay.
So for him, I would say he had to come to that, because he was stuck in his ways. He was stuck in his ways. He did not want to change anything to become modern. He did not want to, but eventually he realized after his interactions with the younger generation, because you find them, you know, in the film together. After his interactions with them, he began to realize, you know, they are not wrong and neither am I. Why don't we progress together and make things work? Because if anything, I could also be a guide to them. So that's basically it.
All right.
That's
thank you very much. The next question I would like to ask you is, Atta and the younger generation, the younger chaps, they took a journey to Accra. In the film, the journey to Accra serves as a metaphor to reconciling the old world and the new generation. Can you tell us more about this?
I would say it's interesting, because I'd say let's say in Ghana, you tend to have villages being separated from the main cities by just a road, and you tend to find people in either of these places having not even been outside of the area that they reside, having seen any part of the country except for the city or the town or the village that they've been born in. And that them even making that journey was something. Atta had a daughter in the city. He's never been to visit her before, and so this opportunity came, and he took it, and he finally got to see how his daughter was living in the city, whether it was to his displeasure or not. It's something that he got to experience, and that experience also helped shape his idea of the modern world versus the traditional world at the end of the day. So sometimes you need to move out of your comfort zone to visit, to try new things in order to come to terms with certain decisions or make certain decisions that would be life changing. Okay. So I would say yes, you are right. It was a metaphor for.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much once again. When you watch the film, one can argue that the film reflects on nature. The film reflects on environmental concerns. And the film reflects on cultural erosion. Is this part of what you intend to explore in the movie?
Yes, it was a major part of the film, because it's a global thing now where the environment isn't being respected, and so now you're finding out that the environment is also fighting back. In Ghana, there's an area close to the Jamestown area, where called Kantamanto, where secondhand goods from Europe and all parts of the world are brought and sold, and then you find that a lot of these clothes are not usable, so they tend to dump them in the ocean, and the ocean then spits it out onto the shore. So there's a whole area filled with discarded clothes and plastic waste, and suddenly there's this revolution that's going on in Ghana where young people and individuals have come together to upcycle these discarded clothes to make them fashionable again. They're making them into bags, clothes, shoes, you name it. I mean, jackets. It's endless. I'm so amazed at what they turn some of these things into, and it's so mind-boggling. And it's also like the plastic waste. Like, people are now taking initiatives and understanding that we need to clean our environment in order to live healthy, live longer, because these things all go together to promote good health. So it's one of the amazing things that is happening in Ghana, and I think I think globally too. It's something that people have become aware of. Not just to discard things anyhow. Yes. You need to respect the environment, because respect goes hand in hand. You respect the environment respects you.
Yeah, thank you very much. The film started with the voice of a storyteller, like a griot, somebody telling us about the sea, about nature.
That was Atta.
It was an elderly person recounting a story of how the sea used to serve them, how the sea used to be everything everybody dreamt of, and And now, talking about the sea, we would know that there are a lot of things also underneath the sea, because he said when maybe we are hot, we jump into it, we get relaxed and everything. Now let's talk about one of the most striking thing in the film, which is the talking fish. I wouldn't stop to imagine, how did you come about the idea of a talking fish, and what does the talking fish represents, because it's a narrative voice. What does the talking fish represent in Atta's journey and the entire film?
So this is where Zoe's creativity came to play. So, having spent so much time, sometime in Keita, in the Volta region in Ghana by the sea, like I mentioned before, she always wondered what secrets laid beneath the surface of the sea. And the ocean is 80% undiscovered. So this was one of the things that she played with in her mind. And so having the opportunity to even write the script, she decided to incorporate that and then make it, because, it's one, even to me when I first read it, it was the craziest idea ever, and that's what made it so appealing to me, like a talking fish who had a smart mouth, and so she did that, and she decided to make it his a sort of a spiritual guide to Ata. He was the only person who could actually communicate with the fish, because at the end of the day, it's a figment of his imagination. Okay. The fish came into play to help guide him through the modern world and make him see that, he's not, dreams happen. Individuals have dreams all the time. Sometimes you need to take a little detour in order to come back to it to make it happen. It doesn't mean that the mere fact that you're also old, dreams cannot happen, regardless of your age, regardless of so far as you're in good health, you wake up, you're healthy, why not go for it? People are getting degrees at the age of 70, 80 years old. What's stopping you from pursuing whatever dreams you had as a young person? Even if family came to play and you had to put them aside, eventually your family will grow, your kids will grow, they will leave. Now it's your turn to pursue whatever it is that you've always wanted as a kid or as a young person to pursue. So nothing should stop you from pursuing your dreams.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, so Ata's dream was to own a boat of his own and to become the boat chief, yes. Right? And like you said, in the film, only Ata could hear the voice of the fish. My question is, was it intended to show Ata's inner world, or is this a concept rooted in the Ghanaian oral tradition?
I mean, there are certain folklores that talk about, talking animals. Like, in Ghana, we've got, not just in Ghana, in Africa, we've got the Kweku Nancy stories, the trickster. So this is nothing new when it comes to African folklore. So having that in the film it's there. We've done it before. It's nothing new. It's just what shape that took is what makes it interesting. So yeah, I would say it's based. It's
both
based.
ways.
Yeah, it's both ways. It's based in African folklore.
And also shows his inner.
It also it's his inner voice speaking to him, because having gone through the shock of being passed over as a boat chief, because it was his turn, literally. But then being passed over and given to a younger generation, somebody who's never been to sea, somebody who doesn't know the ocean, is taken over from him when he's been assured of the position. People, I would say it was a little psychological. He had a breakdown, a psychological breakdown, and that's how come the fish came into play.
Okay. Now, before I ask my last question about the fish, just like two more questions about the fish. Now, Ata accepting, there was a scene where he accepted, what's it called? Technology eventually. Because for him, he's a fisherman for several years, he has experience. And he could tell where the fishes are. This is where the fish is, this is where we can get them. But at the end of the day, he was using GPS with the younger generation, and that is as a result of his relationship with the fish. Eventually, he was able to go to Accra and came back. Now, throughout the film, the fish brought about humor. The fish brought about a lot of wisdom that Ata could tap from. Do you see Kobe the fish, the boogie fish? Do you see the fish more as a comic device in the movie? Or is the fish just a spiritual guide? Because you said it's a comedy. So is it a comic device, or is it a spiritual guide, or something else, or beyond what I'm imagining?
No, it's both. He plays both roles quite well, because like I said, sometimes people can't take truth in its raw state. Sometimes you need to sugarcoat it just a little bit, but then it's in there. You put it in. Like I said, there's a lot of truth said in jest. So when you put it that way, people consume that easily than having to tell it, because you don't know how different people would react to you being blunt.
Yeah.
Some people might not take it well at all, and it might break them down, and they might never recover. So sometimes you need to delve a gentle blow, and then gradually they'll begin to accept whatever it is that you're trying to tell them without being harsh.
All right, thank you very much. Now, on the character, the last question will be on Shasha, the young lady. At the beginning of the story, of the film, she was always coming to the coastal area, and she was rejected. They didn't allow her to do anything. They believe she's a woman, and she doesn't amount to anything as far as fishing is concerned. And you said the director once used to help fishermen. Does it in any way have to relate with the director? Or what message do you think you're trying to pass using Shasha? Because at the end of the day, when they came back from Accra, she became the boat chief instead of Atta.
Yes. So the idea behind that was, in the fishing communities, women usually they just collect the fish and sell. Okay. They don't help that's a man's job. They pull in the nets and everything. And you could tell from the film she wanted to go to sea. Women don't go to sea. It's the men that go to sea and bring in the fish, and then they go sell it, fry it, sell it, or sell it in the raw state. And this is somebody who has actually been to university to study nautical science. So her father took her to school in the city and educated her. So her coming back to want to help her people and being hindered was a problem, and this is one of the things where Zoe wanted to explore, because you tend to find that a lot of women, especially in the African society, sometimes they are passed over for certain positions, even though they are more than qualified or qualified to do the job. They are passed over because they feel it's more of a man's duty to do that. Yes, there are certain things that require man's strength to be able to achieve that, but majority of the occupations or the jobs that are around, women can also do. Yeah. So giving her the opportunity at the end of the day to showcase what she could do based off what she's gone to study and being good at what she studied, because she passed on, she gave him several ideas, when they interacted. She gave him several ideas that made him realize, I'm even though I'm being so hard-headed and traditional, this girl has bright ideas that would lead us into the future. With my guidance, I can guide her to do certain things. Yeah. It doesn't have to be, sometimes being too modern will get you into a bit of muddy water. So you need to combine the two in order to progress. Sometimes, because you don't want to alienate one from the other. Yes.
So we still need the elders in the community.
We need the elders. Yeah. We need, women are supposed to be our partners. They are not.
Yes. Yes.
We are not superior to women. They're supposed to be our partners. We're supposed to progress together. So,
thank you very much. Yeah. Let's talk a little about the casting. The Fisherman featured some renowned actors and some emerging talents. How did you approach the casting? What did you look for when you were selecting the cast?
So, with regards to the casting, we left that to Mauko Kwazi. He's the casting director. He's a big casting director in Ghana. He runs MK Casting, and he's a friend. It's beautiful because a lot of the crew that worked on the film are people that I've worked with over the years, and you're talking about a period of close to almost 20 years. So we built quite the relationship. So Mauko came on board did the casting, sent us the tapes. You know, I'm always for fresh talent, even not just fresh talent, but also trying to marry old and new, because they will learn from the older generation when they get on set together, and that worked so well to my surprise, because the main actor who played Ataoko, Ricky Adelaito, his level of professionalism was. I've worked in the industry for quite some time, and his level of professionalism regarding punctuality. When he was on set, the rest, he always came to set on time, and then the rest of the cast were like, wait, if this, you know, the old man is getting to set on time, what's my excuse? So they all got in line. There was never a day that either was late. Everybody was on time from cast to crew. It was just. After we wrapped, I literally got them, because now these are my younger brothers and sister, and I literally told them, I've done this for a minute, and I must say, when you work on sets, especially for the duration that we filmed, you tend to have people coming in, you know, sometimes somebody will come in late, maybe 1 day, 2 days late. There was never a single day that either of them came late. Yeah. And I thank them so much, because production costs money. If you're late, it costs production money. Because if you are not able to make your day, the film doesn't get made. And we are working with a tight budget. We could not afford to lose a single day, an hour, 2 hours. It would have messed the whole production up. So I appreciate them for making sure that they were always on time and making this film work.
All right, thank you very much. Now the question I would like to ask before the last question is, what does it mean for you that this film, The Fisherman, became the first Ghanaian film to be selected for Venice? And from what I read, it has won so many awards. What does that mean for you? And maybe I should add the second question. How do you see this influence the future of Ghanaian filmmaking?
Listen, if I knew at the very beginning, from the short to the feature, that this film was going to take the path that it's taking us on, I probably would have said you were joking, because from the moment that we did the short and then it got into festivals and how well it was received, I've been blown away from then till now. And the fact that this film happens to be the first Ghanaian film, and I think it's the first West African film to premiere in Venice, because after we did it, Nigeria did it. So for us to be the front runners to make things happen in this region, it blows my mind every day. And the number of awards that this film has won, which is, I can't give you the actual figure, but it's over 15 awards. Some of it, majority of it being international, and we've won 2 at home in Ghana, 1 in Nigeria. So it's been amazing. It's been an amazing ride. I don't want to get off the ride. Actually, we just got nominated. We just got to be the first Ghanaian film also to be nominated for the NAACP awards in the US, which is like the Black Oscars in the US. And that's another thing. You go to bed and wake up one day to news like this. It just gives you that, it spurs you on to want to do more. And I'm hoping that this opportunity opens the doors for other African filmmakers to walk through, because the world is now seeing the kind of stories that we have and need to be told. So if given the opportunity, this is what you will get and more. So this, for me, being able to do this so that other African filmmakers can also get the opportunity to do something, and also even better than what we have. It will be amazing. It will be an amazing feeling for myself.
Thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much. It's been nice talking to you for the past 30 minutes thereabout. Any final word for the University of Bayreuth and for the African Multiple Cluster of Excellence?
Since I got to Germany, this is my first time being here. Since I got to this country, I have felt nothing but, warmth and welcomed. And being at the University of Bayreuth, especially the African Multiple, and the African Multiple and Cluster of Excellence, it's I don't know what to say. From you being, helping chaperone me around and showing me all the spots, and meeting the Professor Ute Fendler and other professors, and interacting with other African filmmakers who also showcase their films here, and watching their amazing work. It's and also yesterday I had an interaction with some of the students, up in one of the departments. It's just, I couldn't have dreamt this. Even if I dreamt it, I didn't think I was going to live it, actually. So being here has been amazing from start to finish, and I do hope to come back and with another project and interact with you more. Okay. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming around. We are happy to have you.
I'm going to carry this experience with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kofi.
Experience.
Thank you for coming around.
Me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.